Analog horror. So I'm not a hater of analog horror. I actually really like some analog horror stuff that I've seen. I feel like it's something that can be really well done if executed well. However, there's some things about analog horror that I don't enjoy so much. I feel like it can be a very easy type of horror to make because it's simpler. Sometimes it's just words on a screen with a narration and stuff. You don't need a lot of visuals and that can work really well. But, maybe that's where the problem lies a bit for me too, because you get, some videos, some analog horror stories that are just that, just words on a screen, and they will try their hardest to make something work, some horrific thing work, and for me it doesn't always accomplish that. Of course we'll have the classics and the Mandela catalog, even the backrooms. I like the backrooms. The backrooms, it's analog horror, right? It's more visual than your typical analog horror, and I think I like that more. It's because it's found footage, it's vintage, it falls into analog horror. I mean, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I do like a good visual. I like when there's no visuals and I can get horrified by that, but it has to be done pretty well to work out for me. That's mainly the thing for me. So if it has visuals, it's easier to work, I think, but it's also harder to make. So that's why I do like the Backroom series a lot. Kenny Pixel's doing great. The Oldest View, gosh, I love the Rolling Giant, the whole thing. It's really, really good because I do like visuals. So analog horror it doesn't have to have visuals, but it has to be done really well for it to work for me. Found footage is a thing that I really, really love in horror. It's weird because I used to be a big crybaby. I used to hate horror, kinda. Not hate it, but I was really, really scared of it. I just I refused to watch any sort of horror, and that was maybe 20 years of my life were like that, and it's only just more recently that I was like, I actually kind of like horror. Horror is pretty cool when done well, when it appeases to me. So analog horror is very popular. It's still very popular to this day. We still have many things with analog horror being done, and it seems to be a new trend to make analog horror of anything or like any sort of property. I've seen Batman analog horror. I mean, I didn't really watch it, but it's all recommended to me. There's Batman analog horror, there's Superman analog horror. The one I actually watched was the Godzilla analog horror series, which is really, really good. The man in the suits, really, really good. And that's one that doesn't have many visuals. It has a little bit, but it just is made really well, because the thing about the visuals, when you're working with as little visuals as possible, we really have to hook the people in with a good narrative, a good atmosphere, and it has to be a good hook. The hook is the main thing. It will get you watching and keep going. That's, or at least for me. The Mandela catalog worked. It has, the visuals are limited, but they are very effective. They're very horrifying, but it can be goofy. Some people think the visuals in the Mandela catalog are kind of funny. I'm not one of those people. I think they're very scary, so that's why I think it works for me. So yeah, that's sort of the thing of analog horror. You can just see that there's so many analog horror things being done. It seems to be a trend to make analog horror of anything. I saw the other day the War of the Worlds. It's so hard to say with the word world. It's so hard to say it. War of the Worlds. It has analog horror. It's made by fans. It's actually pretty cool. I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty well done. That's another one of those that has pretty good visuals that worked for me. Yeah, I do like a good visual. I don't really know how to put into words on how an analog horror can work with limited visuals. Of course it can. I'm not saying it can at all, but I don't know precisely how you make that work. It's the hook thing. You need to have a good world building, a good premise, something that will keep people hooked all the way through, and that's mainly it, I guess. I think original horror concepts is what makes it for me. What was that one with is it Vida Carnes? I think it's Vida Carnes with the flesh monsters made of flesh. It's Vida Carnes. I'm pretty sure it's Vida Carnes. It's just explaining concepts for monsters each episode, I think, and that worked for me. That was pretty cool. I don't think this falls into analog horror, but the mystery flashback, it kind of falls into analog horror, even though the original thing is not videos, but it's a collection of blog posts about this fictional park that was made of flesh. There was a monster under the and I've seen some people making analog horror videos translating the source material, and those are really effective. So I think the most important thing is having a good concept to work with, a good hook. The hook, the atmosphere, the concept, those are the most important things to, I think, for it to work. But that's the problem. A lot of people just don't do that. They kind of do the most basic thing, which is, you know, the screen with text and the weird voice saying the weird things with the weird voice, which feels very analog-y, and then it falls into analog horror territory. But then it can be kind of boring if it's not done well. That's the thing. And you see a lot of analog horror videos and series being done where it's just that. I don't remember the name, but it's that one, the Greylock is the good one, but the one that Wendy Gunn made the video. One of them was Greylock, and the other one was The Painter. The Painter has good visuals and not a good hook. Not a very good hook. Not a good execution of a hook, I think. I guess visuals aren't everything. You can tell that I'm basically rambling. The Painter just has this really talented artist make really well done paintings, and that's the basis of it. The creator himself said that the series made to promote his art, which fair enough, I guess. So yeah, that's the thing with analog horror. It's maybe a lot of people may say it's being overplayed, overdone, and I can definitely see it because of series that just aren't very creative in the usage of analog horror, just doing the basic of the basics, doing basic things and not being very original with not a very good hook. And I think for analog horror to succeed, people really have to bash their heads and make something really, really creative. That's the main thing for me. Like I said, there's analog horror being done of anything. There's the Godzilla one, which is really good. There's others Godzilla ones that I've seen that are actually really good as well. It's in 3D animation. That's terrific. And like I said, that's a lot of things are just getting analog horror for some reason. It's weird. Just getting horrific versions of themselves. As a Mario fan, I'm waiting for the Super Mario analog horror. I actually have an idea. You get the found footage of two plumbers going missing on a mission to clean underground pipes in Brooklyn. There we go. But yeah, hit me up. Do the Mario analog horror. I'll be waiting. I want it. I'll do it myself. You know what? Huh.
I'll do it myself.